Just about to flip the switch for 117 laps of racing from the Chicagoland Speedway. This is the di9 Designs. Turn down for what? Semi-final from virtual Chicagoland Speedway. Corey Blevins and Josh Arnold share the front row in the 48 and 22 respectively. Nate Lehman, the points leader, looks to clinch the championship starting from third, but he's got 178 miles to do it. Green flag is out.
Green, green, green. Caution, yellow flag.
And it looks like they've scrubbed the start immediately. Not sure what went on towards the back, but it looks like nobody was set for that one, so they're going to scrub that start here with these 13 Xfinity cars, and they're going to get them turned loose one more time. So the pace car will come out, collect the field. This gives us a chance to go through the starting lineup. Corey Blevins in the 48, as we mentioned, to the inside of Josh Arnold in that 2-2. Row 3 is going to feature the points leader, Nate Lehman, coming into this round. Well, it looks like the cars are back at a good clip again. A bit confused here. Looks like they're just getting ready to form up again. But again, the point standings coming into this round here. Nate Lehman doesn't have it sewn up just yet, but it looks like if he just manages to at least start this race when the green flag flies, he'll collect enough points to clinch that title. But he's got to finish to get the points. Chris Murphy going to be starting fourth in that 2-1. Federal Express Supra, the Washington driver, bringing some throwback love to the racetrack. Cole Snyder in the 2-4 American Red Cross Chevrolet. He'll be starting on the inside of Kyle Taub in the 1-6 KT's design Ford. Jose Ruiz brings the Dr. Pepper Supra onto the racetrack. You see some heavy damage there on the back end of that 2-3. Let's see exactly what happened here. Coming to the green flag. And this is on the formation here. Not sure exactly what happened, but a little bit of damage here. And coming to that green. Looks like some of these cars banged up, so they just waved the start. It looks like we're going to give it another attempt here. Corey Blevins at the front, Josh Arnold in second, and Nate Lehman in third. You haven't missed a thing if you just tuned in. We're waiting for the lights to go out on the pace car. Let's see if we can have a quick word with our race leader, Corey Blevins. See what caused that to happen. Corey Blevins, Rick James up top. You got me, buddy? Let's try again. Corey Blevins, Rick James, can you hear me? And the problem's on my end. Always is. Third time's a charm, Corey. You got me?
I got you.
There he is, loud
You got
and clear.
me?
I got you. Third time is a charm. What happened there? Explain to the fans watching what caused that start to be scrubbed.
As far as I'm aware, in the back, they had some trouble. Somebody hit somebody, and there was a lot of damage back there, so... that's all I know about it, but I'm in the front, so I can't really see much.
It looks like a lot of guys actually coming to pit road, so they're not scrubbing the start. These laps indeed counting, so you've led every lap so far. Congratulations on that. 2 races to go in this season. You come into this semifinal, Corey, 7th in the point standings, winless. The only other driver in the top 10 that's winless is Jose Ruiz. Will you get a win before the checkered flag flies on Season 3?
Sure hope so. We'll see here. I'm trying to get over COVID still right now, so it's pretty rough. But other than that, we're going green here, so...
Stay healthy, keep the shiny side up, Corey. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Corey Blevins leading the field to the line with control of the field. Kyle Taub to his outside, still waiting for everybody to get lined up. There's the signal. There is the acceleration. Green flag finally out at Chicagoland. And a very disorganized start to that race. Yellow flag comes out. Jeff Lednum, Chris Murphy not with the program. And the race has officially started, but we've yet to complete one lap. Cole Snyder sitting in 10th, Enrique Quiñones in 9th. It doesn't look like anybody's been damaged, but looks like race control just wanted that start to be a little more together, a bit less separate. So Corey Blevins still leading this semifinal. Mike Campbell at the back in the number 7-1 Air Force Ford. The North Carolinian winless this season, but looking to pick up big points tonight, hoping to get himself in the top 10. He comes into tonight's round 13th in the point standings, only 4 markers behind John Osborne, who's not in the starting lineup tonight, but Kyle Taub sure is in that starting lineup. He comes into this semifinal sitting 11th in the point standings. Kyle Taub with 334 points only sits 7 markers ahead of Mike Campbell. They're going to be fighting hard for that 11th and final points paying position in these last 2 races. So the lights are still on atop the pace car. We're going to give these drivers and race control a lap or 2 to sort themselves out so we can actually get the race underway. But don't go anywhere, fans. We're going to be back in just 60 seconds, and we'll get some green flag laps under our belt. So it looks like we're finally ready to get the party started. Corey Blevins, Josh Arnold on the front row. Will we complete the first lap this time around? Only one way to find out. Blevins led every lap so far, has control of the field, waits for the signal. Let's go racing. The 4.8 of Corey Blevins at the end of the first lap from restart gets the points for leading Blevins, Lehman, Arnold, your top three coming off that second corner. Corey Blevins winless so far this season. He's going to do his best to finally enter this win column with just 2 races remaining. Nate Lehman making some very easy work of Josh Arnold in the 2-2, and Lehman trying to just add to the stats, just trying to pad those wins this season. The school teacher in that number 1-4 Ford leads the point standings, 537 points to Chris Murphy's 473. Murph sits 6th right now in the number 2-1 FedEx Supra. .45 seconds. Corey Blevins goes purple. Fastest lap of the race so far. Nate Lehman sits in the 1-4, sitting in second. It's a Chevy Ford top 3. Down the back straight, Enrique Quiñones rounds out the top 5 in the number 9 Michelob Ultra Chevrolet. Murph sits just behind him, but it's a gap to look who. Mike Papa Bear Campbell in the number 7-1 Ford Mustang. The Randleman native holding on strong, but here comes Sacramento's Jose Ruiz in the number 2-3 Dr. Pepper Toyota. Ruiz just to the inside of Jake Millsap in that 1-9. Millsap holding on tough in the black rifle Camaro. Behind the both of them, Cole Snyder in the 2-4 American Red Cross Chevrolet. You can see he's got some damage on the back end of his machine. He got a little bit of contact off that formation lap. We'll see if it affects how his race car drives over these next 100 or so laps. And there is McGee, Mississippi's Josh Arnold in the 2-2. The Pep Boys Ford sits just ahead of Byron Jones in that 44. Quiñones in the 9, sitting in the 5th position. Both Jones and Quiñones up 7 places from where they started. And of course, Murph rounding out that top 6. But at the front, it's been the Corey Blevins show. He leads by half a second over Nate Lehman. Jones looks like he's preparing a move to the outside of Arnold in that 22. Quiñones sitting in that 9 car trying to line up Jones possibly. This is what the world looks like from the cockpit of that Michelob 9. That sweet V8 music. Quiñones in that Michelob car, rounding out that top 5. Murphy falling behind him. Further on back, though, Jake Millsap looks like he's trying to make just a little bit of time up on the 7-1 of Mike Campbell. The Air Force Ford on the outside of turn number 2. He's got the black rifle Chevrolet behind him, and then again the 2-3 of Ruiz. That Dr. Pepper Supra sitting behind the 19 and possibly making his way up to the 8th position, but still just under 100 laps to go. And if you've just tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching the Turn Down for What di9 Designs Xfinity Series from Chicagoland Speedway. White Walker in the chat says, what's going on, Rick? Where's the rest of the field tonight? Good question. 13 cars registered in the starting lineup for tonight's semifinal. 178 miles on offer, and unfortunately for the rest of the field, it looks like these 13 drivers were brave enough to take on the challenge of Chicagoland Speedway, and they'll be rewarded handsomely with precious points in the final two races of the championship. It's not for everybody. It is a tough series. It is difficult to handle, and 13 drivers able to cut the mustard for tonight, able to take on the difficult challenge of Chicagoland Speedway. Kurt in the chat says, great track, low numbers for such a great track. It is a wonderful track. One of my favorite sights here at Chicagoland Speedway is seeing the horizon and the sunset just over turn number 4. You'll notice that in the title card here. You'll notice that in our victory lane celebrations. You'll see that screenshot of the sun setting over turn 4. It is a lovely piece of work, this racetrack. White Walker 86 says, sad to see it go from NASCAR. Unbelievably sad to see it go. It's certainly a part of, I know, my childhood and the childhood of a lot of friends, a lot of members of this Turn Down for What community. They've been racing here since 2001, and not just obviously the Cup Series, but the Xfinity Series, the Truck Series, IndyCar was here as well. How about some amazing IndyCar finishes? Richie Hearn with the qualifying lap record, 24.521 seconds. Ryan Newman with the Xfinity record, 28.96 seconds. Corey Blevins not going anywhere near that fast, however. The race leader in the 4.8, his fastest lap, 31.45 seconds around this 1.5 mile oval in the shadow of Chicago, Illinois. Chevy Ford, your top 3. Byron Jones sits in 4th, and Murph in the 5th position, but falling off that pace. He's now further away from the top 4 than he is away from Enrique Quiñones in that 6th position. The number 9, Southern Beverage Company Michelob Ultra Camaro, now chasing down the 2-1 of Chris Murphy. Over the last 5 laps, you can see that Murphy actually quicker than Enrique Quiñones. But Quiñones now 0.9 of a second behind Murphy. So Murphy starting to catch up to that top 4, and he's actually on the move over the last 5 laps. There you see Byron Jones quicker, except for that last lap, that 24th lap for Chris Murphy. He is quicker than the 44 ahead of him, and now he's chasing him down. Points leader Nate Lehman to the inside of Josh Arnold. This the move for the 2nd position. The 22 defends bravely. White Walker 86 in the chat says, conserving tires, and that's what Murph is all about. He's got to get his best chance for a win, doing everything he can to get as close as possible to Nate Lehman, but Nate Lehman started the race. For all intents and purposes, unless something insane happens, Nate Lehman will clinch the championship with a finish tonight. He can't do any worse than 13th. White Walker 86 says, that's my driver, 21, going to get that win, or the 37 of Jeff Lednum. The 21 of Chris Murphy sitting 5th right now, and Maryland's Jeff Lednum running in the 12th spot, and still plenty of racing to go. Anything is possible, especially at this unpredictable racetrack. Mike Allen and Cole Snyder battling hard for that 10th position. The 888 Junior Johnson throwback chasing down the American Red Cross Chevy. Both Camaros going hammer and tongs for a spot in that top 10. Coming into this semi-final, Cole Snyder in the 2-4 sits 3rd in the points standings. He's only 22 points behind Chris Murphy, so 2nd place still very much up for grabs Cole Snyder and Nate Lehman, the only 3-time winners in the point standings. Nate Lehman with 4 wins, as you see there. White Walker 86 says 24 had got some heavy damage to the back of his car, and that damage coming on the formation lap. Some drivers not moving and getting a little bit of extracurricular attention to their rear ends before the green flag flew, and the first couple of starts just not as together as race control would like. And he indeed does have some damage to the front, as White Walker 86 points out, and he's just able to cut off Mike Allen in that 88. Brave move by Cole Snyder in that 2-4. Side by side, and round they go. They don't give up that fight. Corey Blevins leading, but the gap is shrinking. Josh Arnold still within half a second to the 48, and is today the day for Corey to get his first win of the season. We were saying earlier, of the drivers in the top 7, only Corey Blevins and Jose Ruiz have come up winless this season, despite Corey Blevins running 7th in the points. He's had a beautifully consistent Season 3 campaign, but victory lane has eluded him for the past 14 rounds. Will race 15 be the day for Corey Blevins? Byron Jones now on the outside of Chris Murphy, trying to defend that 4th position, and the time has come for Murph to show what he can do. He's been hunting down that 44 over the last several laps, but now that he's gotten just a bit closer, now he's got to show how he can get around him. Bama Trama in the chat. Mama Vols in the house. The number 1 Rick James TV fan. Glad to have you here, ma'am, once and always. Send my love to the family down in Tennessee, would you? Murph, just to the inside of Byron Jones, edging him for that 4th position. 2.5 seconds off 3rd place, Nate Lehman. Jones not giving up the fight and moving further on back. Mike Allen and Cole Snyder still at it. Murph looking to make that one stick ahead of that 44 U.S. Air Force Chevrolet, and he does. But how will Jones respond? Tries to give him the crossover into that 3rd corner. Can't make it stick, so he slides up out of turn number 4, and now the chase is on for Byron Jones. Murphy successfully holding on to that 4th position. Cole Snyder, Mike Allen, and now Mike Campbell making a little 3-way fight for that 9th spot. Snyder finally catching up to that 71. Allen topside in the 88. Campbell looking to use that speed and momentum out of turn number 4 to get the move, but Cole Snyder making that racetrack as short as possible. Gets right in front of that 71 of Mike Campbell. What a move to get around him. The 71 trying to hold off the 88 of Mike Allen, who moves into the 10th position, and the New York native marching forward while Papa Bear slides in the opposite direction. but still plenty of race to go for Papa Bear Campbell. Little loose into turn number 3, but the pit window now in full effect. There you see between 35 and 45 laps, a lot of drivers pitting on that third lap. The only driver who did not pit, one Corey Blevins, race leader over Josh Arnold, but only by 0.2 of a second. J-Paw leading this, well, I'm sorry, not leading this race, trying to lead this race, gets right up to the wall with inside 0.2 of a second now, and is he trying to put pressure on Arnold right before the pit window opens, or is he genuinely trying to get around and lead a lap before he has to come down pit road? It's a game of chicken now to see which driver is going to come down pit road first. Who's going to blink? Arnold following in the wake of that 4.8, trying to keep as close as possible into that third corner. And you can see from the back straight where some 1.5 mile ovals are straight in the back. Literally, they have that back straight. Chicagoland, not so much. Watch the hands of Josh Arnold going through this third corner, through the second corner into the third corner. You're going to see Josh Arnold twitching those hands ever so slightly to stay in line with the backstretch. .41 laps about to be completed. The top two separated by 0.2 of a second. Jake Millsap's closer than that. The 19 now on the inside of Enrique Quiñones. This is the move for the 7th position. Quiñones holding on to 7th. Millsap 0.2 away from that spot. But again, with the pit window being so close, do the drivers risk it, or do they go all the way out on these worn tires? How long will these Goodyears hold out? And that answers the question. Corey Blevins on his way in, 1 lap after Mike Campbell makes his way down pit road. And the race leader gives up the top spot on lap 42. And that's going to make Josh Arnold the new leader in the Pet Boys Mustang. He's ahead of points leader Nate Lehman by 0.9 of a second. And Byron Jones 5.5 seconds off of that top 2 spot. Quiñones on the outside fighting Millsap, while Corey Blevins, Chris Murphy, and Cole Snyder are all down pit road. Add Jeff Lednam to the list as well. These two drivers really wearing those Goodyears as hard as they can on their way in. Quiñones has decided he's had enough, and he's loose coming into the pits. He's got to get that car woed up 50 miles an hour across the line, and it looks like Quiñones just made it down pit road. Josh Arnold sitting in that lead still has not come down pit road. He, Nate Lehman, and Byron Jones are the last holdouts to come down. White Walker 86 said, what a save by Q. And talk about it. Let's have another look at Enrique Quiñones coming down pit lane. Look at the hands. Full opposite lock on the way into the pits, and he still gets it woed up to 50 miles an hour. Heads up play by Quiñones, and the leader is in. That's Josh Arnold. He's come down pit road, and he's parked the Pet Boys Ford. Nate Lehman, Byron Jones also getting service. And is it that much of a race to get off pit road, or are they just trying to get as much fuel as possible into the car? 22 is down, he's away, followed by the 14. 44 of Byron Jones is now set free. He's on his way out of pit road. Josh Arnold enters and leaves pit road with the lead, but there is Corey Blevins in the 48, new leader on lap 45. Blevins in front, Arnold in second and Lehman in third. The running order before the pit stop cycle started. Again, drivers able to go between 35 and 45 laps on one pit window. We should see these drivers come down pit road one more time. Just about 25 laps before the finish. Nate Lehman holds on to the third position right now. Josh Arnold just ahead. But for how long? Lehman not pressed to make any rash decisions. All he's got to do is finish the race, and he'll have enough points to clinch the championship. What a season it's been for him. 4 wins so far, but make no mistake, Lehman is still interested in getting 6 wins. The all-time points total, 599 points, just out of reach, but 6 wins is the season record. Jordan Bain getting that record last season, where he also picked up 599 points, and Nate Lehman has gotten into the wall. Points leader has a scrape with the turn 4 safer barrier. Jeff Lednum's going to get around him, not for position, but Josh Arnold now 1.5 seconds ahead of the points leader. And Nate will just need to regroup and get on the attack one more time, but that's going to allow Josh Arnold some clean, undisturbed air to the front and to behind. Corey Blevins, however, moving like a stabbed rat. He's out of that. He's shot out of that cannon. Now leading this race by 1.8 seconds over Josh Arnold, but Arnold running his fastest personal lap of the race, 31.59 seconds for the Mississippi driver. The Murph is moving. Chris Murphy in the 2-1. FedEx Supra is up to the 4th position. Gaining 1 spot through that pit stop cycle. He's 1.3 seconds behind Nate Lehman. And is he ever just getting closer? Is there enough damage on the 1.4 to slow it down? You can see there's a dent on the right front corner of that 1.4 Ford. Have a close look as it's going to come through that 3rd corner. There it is. You can clearly see some damage. Has he knocked the toe out of the right front tire? And does Chris Murphy smell blood in the water? 0.9 of a second. Now the gap between Lehman and Murphy. .52 laps underway at the Chicagoland Speedway. If you've just tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching di9 Designs. Turn down for what? Semi-final from iRacing's Joliet, Illinois. Nate Lehman trying to stay ahead of Chris Murphy. This not for the championship so much as it is for pride for Chris Murphy. There are the points, and it's quite a large gap headed into the semifinal. Explorian cheering for Chris Murphy. White Walker 86 also in the chat mentioned he wants Murphy to get this win. The 2-1 FedEx Supra comes into this race with just 1 win to his name, and Kyle Taub has gone around in the 1/6. He jumps immediately to pit road. And the yellow flag has come out on lap 53. Let's see what happened to the Floridian. Makes contact with the outside wall and just loses control of the race car. And he jumps immediately to pit road. Let's have another look. Not a fun time for Loxahatchee, Florida's Kyle Taub. So he comes down pit road to get some repairs and recollect himself just a bit. So we're just past the halfway mark. Well, actually almost to the halfway mark, aren't we? I can't do math, never mind. But we're almost to halfway here. Corey Blevins has led the majority of laps today. Josh Arnold is scored in that second position, and Nate Lehman is scored in third. We'll see if these drivers come down pit road, get some tires and fuel, and it looks like they will. Everybody coming down for service. So while the drivers take a short break and refuel, so will we. Fans, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 90 seconds with more Turn Down for What racing from Chicagoland. Back at Chicagoland Speedway with one Mike Campbell at the head of the field. Papa Bear, it's Rick James up top. You got me?
I got you, Rick.
Leading this race with laps that are 14, tires that are 14 laps older than the rest of the field. What's the strategy here, Pop? Are you trusting your Goodyears?
I know these guys are going to get me, but I wanted that extra bonus point. But I know they're going to get me on the restart here, but then I'm going to try to go with at least one more.
Well, it looks like it's a one-stop strategy to the end, Pop, and anything could happen here. You've got the U.S. Air Force colors on tonight, so hopefully you can fly to a top 10, maybe even a bit better, Pop. Keep the shiny side up, and hopefully we talk to you at the end.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick.
Randleman, North Carolina's Mike Campbell leading some laps, getting that bonus point, as he said. Good for him. We'll see how long he can hold on with these worn tires. He'll have control of the field coming to the line. Pace car will peel off. We're going to restart on lap 57. He waits patiently for the signal.
Green flag.
Green flag. Let's go racing. McGee, Mississippi's Josh Arnold goes for a spill out of turn number 4. We stay green. Corey Blevins leads the race after a botched restart from Mike Campbell in that 7-1. You saw he spun the tires and went for a spill. Josh Arnold immediately jumping to pit lane, and he's getting some repairs. He went for a big spill off turn number 4. Will he come back? How will he get that lap back? We'll go to Josh Arnold's spin in a moment, but for now, Jake Millsap on the inside looks like he picked up some damage on the side of the 1-9. Corey Blevins goes purple, 31.34 seconds, and the 4.8 fastest time of the race. Murph just behind him in that second position. The 2-1 FedEx Supra completing the trifecta of a Chevy, Toyota, Ford. Top 3, 4.8, 2-1, 1-4. The podium positions right now. Nate Lehman ahead of Byron Jones by a quarter of a second, quickly approaching 50 laps to go. Mike Allen to the inside of Jeff Lednam. This the move for 8th. Drivers really getting a bit brave with these fresh tires. The majority of competitors pitting just 6 laps ago. But of course we saw Mike Campbell taking the gamble to get the bonus point, and now he'll hopefully receive the caution that'll put him back in lockstep with the rest of the top 10. J-Paw says, gonna start up front in the wrong gear on 16-lap old tires. Absolutely stupid. And Josh Arnold voicing his frustrations with that restart. Corey Blevins leading Chris Murphy. Nate Lehman sits in the 3rd position, and there's Byron Jones just behind the points leader Lehman and staying in the wake of that 1-4 Mustang. Let's take a look at that restart. Josh Arnold referring to the 7-1 of Mike Campbell spinning those tires. Have a look. Have a listen. Sounded just a bit down on gear. Now have a look at the 22 of Josh Arnold. He was stuck behind that 7-1. Frustratingly, as you can imagine, he had to maneuver his way. But he's all right in the thick of it. Now keep your eye on that 2-2. See if there's any contact inside of his good friend Enrique Quiñones. Both of those drivers repping the Southern Beverage Company. There he goes, just high out of turn number 4. No contact to the 22. It looks like he just loses control, possibly puts just a little too much enthusiasm in his right foot, and the 22 Pep Boys Ford goes for a spill. That on our most recent restart on lap 57. 8 laps after, Corey Blevins leading Chris Murphy by 0.6. Byron Jones glued to the back end of points leader Nate Lehman. This the battle for 3rd. Further on back, Sacramento's Jose Ruiz catching up to Jake Millsap in the 1-9. No, I'm sorry, that's Jose Ruiz catching up to Enrique Quiñones in that 9 car. Let's ride on board with the 2-3 Dr. Pepper Toyota. Quiñones ahead of Ruiz. The New Jersey pilot trying to defend his top 5 position against his friend from the West Coast. Sacramento's Jose Ruiz looking to crack that top 5. We'll see who prevails here in a lap or 2. Nate Lehman able to pull away from Byron Jones. He stays in 3rd. It remains a Chevrolet, Toyota, Ford, top 3. The 2-4 of Cole Snyder finds himself the only car 1 lap down in the 11th position. He's ahead of the 14 Still running competitive times, but when will the 2-4 yield to the points leader, or advantage he's getting off of the 2-4 of Cole Snyder now moves to the inside, and he just can't quite get the advantage on the Red Cross Chevrolet. Jose Ruiz finally gets around Enrique Quiñones. Let's see how the Sacramento driver made the pass on lap 68. Textbook using that momentum out of turn number 4, and it was quite the nice move to get Jose Ruiz into the top 5. He's 1 second off of Byron Jones in the 44, who continues his march towards the 1-4 of Nate Lehman. Jones now has to get around the lapped car of Cole Snyder. .185 plus into that first corner. Byron Jones following in the draft of Cole Snyder. Conservation is going to be important in these final 45 or so laps. Drivers coming into this race knowing they'll have a maximum of 4 tire changes on these Xfinity race cars. They've used 3 so far, so there's 1 more pit stop coming. We know this. 1 more pit stop coming from here. Drivers cannot go the distance, but if a series of cautions come out, when do the drivers elect to change those tires? That yellow flag is quite the variable. Jake Millsap putting his terms into more certain figures. The 19 certainly working his way out of the top 7. Millsap scraping the wall and putting some paint on that safer barrier, and the Black Rifle Coffee Company driver needs to wake up and stay off that outside retaining wall. He's scraped up the Star-Spangled 19, and into that first corner, Millsap goes wounded, slow, and being hunted by the 3-7 of Jeff Lednam. Millsap going high once again, has to check up to stay off that turn 2 wall. Someone get this man a cup of Black Rifle. That coffee company could wake up that 19 just a bit. Further up, Byron Jones on the inside of Jose Ruiz. This is the Sacramento driver making his way into that top 4. If he can make it stick on the top side over the last 5 laps, he's made it work for him. Ruiz getting around Lehman on the top side, and he makes it stick. So California's Jose Ruiz into the top 4. Nate Lehman ahead now by 1 second. And there is the points leader in the distance. Lehman finds himself 1.6 seconds off of Chris Murphy. And over the last 5 laps, Murphy not able to consistently reel in race leader Corey Blevins. But still within striking distance, he can feel that draft. We did say conservation was going to be the name of the game with this unpredictable pit stop strategy coming up in these next 42 laps. Chevy, Toyota, Ford, your top 3. Corey Blevins, Chris Murphy, Nate Lehman in those podium positions. And Jose Ruiz starting to catch up to the points leader. The 14 looks to be on some conservation mode here. His last time around, 33.07 seconds. Jose Ruiz about 0.2 of a second quicker. And there you can see last time around. There it is, Nate Lehman indeed. 0.2 off the pace of the Dr. Pepper Toyota Supra. But with these drivers just about halfway into their pit stop cycles, we'll see when Nate Lehman will put the hammer down. 0.7 now the gap between the 14 and the 2-3. And Enrique Quiñones now within 1 second to Byron Jones in that 44 car. Drivers having a lot of racetrack to themselves really have to make the most of their line having to maximize the width of that racetrack. And we saw what can go wrong, and we see what can go wrong right there. The number 9 of Enrique Quiñones tried to make the racetrack wider than possible, like his teammate in the 1-9, Jake Millsap. And both of those drivers getting a bit of extracurricular stripes on the outside of their Chevrolets. And Q-Dog in the Southern Beverage Michelob Ultra Camaro almost getting into the wall again. Same pattern as Jake Millsap, and you can clearly see it takes these drivers a while to get their rhythm back together, almost 2 laps, just to get the bravery to hang out near the retaining wall again. But luckily, Quiñones keeps his car moving in the right direction, but his assault forward toward the 44 of Byron Jones now momentarily halted. Last time around, Jones a 10th quicker than Quiñones, but will the time be stagnant now? How close will Q-Dog get to the top 5 before the end of his pit stop cycle? Coming into this semifinal, there you see Quiñones 8th in the point standings. He finds himself just 12 markers off of Corey Blevins, but Blevins leading this race. Still a lot up in the air, and we're quickly approaching the final 35 laps of racing. Blevins 1.5 seconds ahead of Chris Murphy in that 2-1 FedEx Toyota. There again are the points. Blevins coming into this race winless. Chris Murphy with only 1 win to his name. Hunter Peach, who's not in the starting lineup, only has an 12-point advantage over Corey Blevins, and Jose Ruiz, who's currently running 4th, could lose even more points. If Blevins can come away with a win, he'll get plenty of bonus points as well for leading a lap and leading the most laps, which could be crucial in the championship hunt. 4-8 starting to get a bit slidey out of the corner now. Tires 25 or more laps old on these race cars now, so you'll start to see the tail come out of sorts. Jose Ruiz in that 2-3 has the 2-4 of Cole Snyder behind him, but it's the 1-4 that he's interested in. Nate Lehman in his blue Ford Mustang. Will he be able to keep that top 3? Mike Campbell coming down pit road for tires and fuel, so this could start the final pit window. Campbell possibly trying to short pit, possibly trying to take advantage of late race cautions here. He's going to give up his top 10 position for tires and fuel. Nate Lehman being reeled in by Jose Ruiz. This is the battle for the top 3 before their respective pit stops, and it could make a world of difference knowing that this is the final stop of the race. Drivers will try to make this inside 30 to go, but when you gotta go, you gotta go, and Jeff Lednam decides his time is now. The Maryland driver comes down for tires and fuel. He's going to give up his position in the top 10 as well. Lednam, good to go to the end in the 37 Snap-on Ford, but how about Corey Blevins? This is his biggest lead of the race. 2 seconds back to Chris Murphy, who's got another 2 seconds back to Nate Lehman, but Lehman now has a mirror full of Dr. Pepper Toyota. The 14 on the low side, the 2-3 on the top side, and the battle for the bronze medal is on. The 2-3 of Ruiz now on the top side. He's got Mike Campbell in the way. Campbell currently running 11th. Nate Lehman in the 1-4 will let the 7-1 go by on those fresh tires. But now, will that open the door for the Dr. Pepper Toyota to make his way on the bottom, still riding that top side and trying to be smooth, getting a great wide exit off the corner, but time is ticking. We're now inside the final 31 laps of competition. Ruiz is there, top side. 30 to go this time by for Corey Blevins. Ruiz looking to get one of his best finishes of the season. He's also winless coming into this semifinal, sitting 5th in points, and with Blevins just 19 points behind him, a win could make the difference. Ruiz wants to fight for pride. He wants to fight for that top 5 spot. Less than 2 races remain in the season. The Sacramento driver looking to take on the points leader for 3rd. But how long will those tires last? You've got the most important pit stop of the race coming up. Do you expend the last life of these Goodyears on making the pass? Ruiz says, you bet. Lehman now has to defend off the second corner. The 1-4 will glide up to the top side. The Sacramento driver has the door close on the top rail. Will he go down low side on the 1-4? No. Sticks to the top end. Both of these drivers want that 3rd place. Ruiz squeezing the pressure now. Turning the screw on the 1-4. Further on back, Mike Allen making hay while the sun starts to set. The 8-8 sits in 7th right now. He's now catching up to Enrique Quiñones. And the 9 car suffered just a bit of damage on the right side of his race car. Allen being overtaken by Cole Snyder, but of course the 2-4 with far fresher tires. Allen all over the back end of the 9. Jose Ruiz goes to the inside of Nate Lehman for the 3rd position just before his pit window opens. Quickly approaching 25 laps to go for Ruiz. He's in 3rd. It's a Chevy Toyota top 3. Byron Jones is in. He spins the race car on the way down pit road, and this is going to cost him dearly on the way in. Let's have a look at car 4-4. Loose out of turn number 4, comes in with an incredible amount of speed, and he goes head first into that inside pit road wall. It's going to cost him quite a lot of time. Murphy is in with less drama, and Chris Murphy comes down to make his money stop. Corey Blevins still your race leader. That's going to boost Quiñones into the top 5 before he comes down for tires and fuel. It's a Chevy, Toyota, Ford top 3 once again. Corey Blevins, Jose Ruiz, and soon-to-be series champion Nate Lehman sitting in that 3rd position. But before this season is over, the 4-8 of Corey Blevins wants to notch one in the win column. 25 laps to go for the driver of the 48 Chevrolet. The Keys Architects and Associates Camaro yet to visit victory lane this season. He's the 2nd highest ranked driver in points. Yet to get there. Is tonight his night? He's got to nail the pit stop. Blevins on his way down pit road with a head full of steam. He comes down and gets it well under 50 miles an hour. No speeding penalty for Blevins. Lehman on his way in as well. Money stop for the points leader. And typically, Jose Ruiz goes all the way out as far as he can on a fuel run, and he's doing that right before the end. He's trying to have the most fresh tires in case of a late race caution. Ruiz not knowing where to go. The 19 of Millsap giving a bit of a wiggle. Some miscommunication there between the race leader and Millsap, who's running in 10th, 1 lap off the pace. But Ruiz is now on his way in. He's got to cross the cones at under 50 miles an hour, and he does so exactly. The Dr. Pepper Toyota comes down for his final stop of the race. Corey Blevins out of pit road, overtaken by Cole Snyder. who will get one of his 2 laps back. And here comes Murphy, top side over the 48 of Corey Blevins, who's not moving fast enough to throw the block, but can Murphy make it stick? Blevins now with tires that are just a few laps fresher than Murphy's on the inside line. With those cold tires, is he going to be able to make that defense for the lead stick? 22 laps to go. Next time by, Murphy topside. Murphy just couldn't make it stick. Blevins on the defense immediately after leaving pit road, but Murphy can now conserve tires now that he's got the full draft of car 48. Blevins, Murphy, Lehman, 5 seconds adrift of these top 2. And it's going to be the Corey Blevins and Chris Murphy show for the next 22 laps. Will Murphy be patient? Will he turn the screw early? Corey Blevins has dominated this race in a winless season thus far. Will Murphy put the pressure on Blevins, and will Blevins make a diamond that will take him all the way to victory lane? 21 laps to go, this time by. Allen chasing down the 7-1 of Campbell, this for the 7th position. Papa Bear top side in the Air Force Ford. He's going to leave lots of room for the double eight of Allen to overtake, and Allen up 3 places from where he started into the 7th position. Mike Allen comes into this race 21st in the point standings, only 3 markers behind Jarrett Manning. A finish here today is going to bring Mike Allen within the top 20 in points. He'll definitely be on this chart going into next week's championship final. 111 laps at the Charlotte Motor Speedway is how di9 Designs turned down for what will end this 3rd season of competition next week at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. But we still have 20 laps to go before we can talk about next week. Corey Blevins leading Chris Murphy by 0.3 of a second, and he's starting to expand that gap. But is Blevins just putting a bit too much pressure on his own good years? 19 laps remain. Blevins looking to get win number 1. Nate Lehman sitting in 3rd, 5 seconds off the pace. Is there any more magic to come from the champion-to-be in the 1-4? Jose Ruiz within 1 second to the school teacher in that 14 Ford Mustang. It's going to get spicy between these top 4. Jeff Lednam, 8 seconds off the pace, but sitting in 5th with Mike Allen quickly approaching. Over the last 5 laps, you can see Allen has been quicker by several tenths of a second. Jeff Lednam with tires that are 10 laps older than Mike Allen. And this last time around, Mike Allen comes through against Lednam's 32.74 second lap. Mike Allen, 0.7 of a second quicker. Quick math tells you he'll be up to Jeff Lednam's bumper in about 10 laps. That's going to be a fun fight inside the final 15 circuits. Ruiz is getting closer. Lehman can hear the Jaws music. The Sacramento native piloting that Dr. Pepper Toyota wants a 3rd place finish. He is also winless in this season. Ruiz, the highest ranked driver in the points without a victory yet. 15 laps to go, and if a late race caution comes out, Ruiz has the freshest tires in the field. It wouldn't be a bad move to bet on that 23. We'll see just how far he can take that Toyota before races end. Corey Blevins a full second ahead of Chris Murphy in the 2-1 Supra. Second in the points right now, and Murph just wants a bit better than second place in this race. Just under 15 laps to go. If you've recently tuned in, I'm Rick James. You're watching di9 Designs Turn Down for What Xfinity Series. It's been quite the eventful race with the original start being scrubbed. Mike Campbell starting on old tires, scattering the field in one of our restarts. And Corey Blevins unexpectedly dominating this race in that 48 Chevrolet. Next time around, it'll be lucky number 13 laps, and all eyes on Corey, wondering if he can really bring home this first win. Ruiz looking to bring home another podium against the points leader. Now within 0.6 of a second, and over the last 5 laps, this has been the gap between Jose Ruiz and Nate Lehman. You can see last time around, Lehman almost identical with Ruiz. But the 2-3 now in the draft of that 1-4, and we'll see just how close he gets on lap 104. Lucky number 13 laps to go, and Nate Lehman slower by 1/10 of a second to that 2-3 of Jose Ruiz, and it just gets smaller, the gap between them. The 1-4 Ford has that maroon, what would you call that? Maroon, burgundy? What is the color of Dr. Pepper? That's a good question. Whatever that color is, Jose Ruiz sitting in 4th, and he's now within 0.5 second to Nate Lehman with 12 laps remaining. No more scheduled pit stops for these drivers. Even if a late race caution comes out, I don't believe anybody's got any fresh rubber left to put on these race cars. So now you've got what you've got. You must defend your 3rd place finish. And how easy will Nate Lehman make it for Jose Ruiz? The 2-3 has arrived to the back bumper of the 1-4. Around, we saw Jose Ruiz have to go to the inside. He set up Lehman on the top side for several laps. He cut to the inside, going down the front straight out of turn number 4. Will the Sacramento driver pull off the same move? Will he go with a crossover out of the second corner? Ruiz on the attack, Lehman on the defense, 9 at the line, and 3rd place up for grabs. Ruiz now behind the 1-4 on the top side, looking to make it stick, running a dangerous line, however. One wrong move from the 2-3, and that challenge for 3rd place goes up in smoke. There's the crossover to the inside of car 2-4. He's edging Lehman into the 3rd corner. He's got to make it stick out of turn number 4, but does he have the grip? Lehman, top side, watches the 2-3 scoot ahead of his Mustang. And with 8 laps to go, Jose Ruiz gets around points leader Nate Lehman. It is a Chevy Toyota top 3. Ruiz, for now, holds on to the bronze medal position. Jake Millsap looking to get some late race points, working on the 7-1 of Mike Campbell. These drivers have tires that are 10 laps apart. Campbell pitting on lap 81. Millsap on lap 91 will make light work of Mike Campbell, and Millsap easily moves into the 8th position. Cole Snyder within 6 seconds to Mike Papa Bear Campbell, but Cole's going to have to really get the lead out if he wants to catch up to the North Carolinian, who's not giving up the fight, but look who's right behind him, 3rd place Ruiz. Could he get held up while the 19 and the 7-1 fight it out for that 8th position? The 14 of Lehman now getting a draft from 2 race cars down the front straight. 5 to go. Next time by, 0.3 of a second separating Ruiz and Lehman. Campbell losing that momentum against Millsap. The 14 forced to run on the high side, not something he normally does, but holds it together on the top side. And 0.5 second the gap between Ruiz and Lehman. The 2-3 sends it deep into turn number 3, and Lehman now having to chase, but 7/10 now the gap between the 14 and the 23. That could be it for that third place fight at the front. Heart rate's increasing. Every last nervous little twitch he can feel. Corey Blevins has gone 14 races without a win, but will round 15 be his night? Looking to score that first victory in the semifinal. Chris Murphy, 3.8 seconds off the pace. So with less than 4 laps to go, the only person that could beat Corey Blevins is himself. 3.5 laps left. It's Corey's race to lose. Chris Murphy out of that second corner, doing everything right for himself. But with Nate Lehman in fourth, it doesn't seem like it'll be enough. Cole Snyder has crashed in the 2-4. Coming into turn number 1, we stay green. The 2-4 crashes, and there is the yellow flag. With 3 laps to go, we're going to get a green-white checkered finish in the semifinal. Let's have a look at the accident for Snyder. Oh, it's happened well before that. Cole just gets loose off the fourth corner, loses all control of the race car. And luckily, he brings it to a halt before any other damage happens. A couple of pretty spins on the front straight, and Cole Snyder comes to a screeching, scratched-up halt. He's being scored in the 10th position while we get lined up for the green-white checkered finish. And again, none of these drivers, at least to my knowledge, none of these drivers have any tires to put on the race car, but they may go for fuel. They may go for some adjustments. Blevins is in. Chris Murphy stays out, going for his second win of the season. Corey Blevins, who is winless, has he just pitted away the lead for good, or does he have one more set of tires that he's going to bolt onto the race car and get that fresh rubber in an attempt to win? Chris Murphy, Jeff Lednum, Mike Allen, all staying out, pitting on laps 91, 82, and 92, respectively. So these drivers will have tires that are 16 laps older than the rest of the competition. And the last time a driver restarted in the lead with tires that are 16 laps old, it was the 7-1 of Mike Campbell, who spun the tires and scattered the restart. So it's going to be down to Murph. Chris Murphy, leading in that 2-1, will have the responsibility of controlling the field to the green flag. And for 3 miles around Chicagoland, it will be a green-white checkered finish when we come back, fans. Don't go anywhere. We'll have the first of 3 attempts from Chicagoland. Back in 60 seconds. How are your nerves? Chris Murphy has control of the field. His tires 16 laps older than the rest of the competition. Corey Blevins starting on the outside, looking for his first victory this season. Murph looking to go to victory lane for the second time in one last-ditch effort to get points on Nate Lehman before the final race. Pace car peels off. Green flag is out. Green, white, checkered from Chicagoland. Reese on the inside line looking to make good time on the 21, trying to get a move to the left-hand side. Blevins loose on the top side. Reese forcing the issue. Contact between the 14, but everybody makes it through. Into the third corner now. Reese to the inside, looking to get his first win this season. 3 wide out of the fourth corner. Contact is made, but Lehman backs off. There it is, 3 wide for the third position, almost 4 wide for second. Corey Blevins in that second slot. Points leader Nate Lehman in third. Jose Ruiz collects the white flag, and it's a race from here. 2-3, 4-8, 1-4. Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, your top 3. Half a lap to go. The top 2 winless coming into the semifinal, but it'll be decided tonight. Blevins, one last run on the 2-3 of Ruiz. Will he pull it off? Trying to make time, but it's going to be Sacramento's Jose Ruiz who wins at Chicagoland. First win of the season for the California native. Winless coming into the semifinal, and on that green-white checker, he secures the restart. Shakes of celebration. Congratulations coming from the 1-4, the 1-9 of Jake Millsap. First W this season. How must it feel? 5th in the points before this race, trying for 14 consecutive weeks to get himself a win, and it finally pays off in the shadow of Chicago's skyline. Sacramento's Jose Ruiz, he's a winner in di9 Designs. Turned down for what? Jose earns a boisterous celebration. He's going to do donuts in the grass, celebrate his victory. Let's take a look at that last lap. Well, let's start from the restart. Love that burnout. Keep your eye on the 2-3 Dr. Pepper machine. Going to choose the inside line. You can see the 14 scatters to the top side. Luis is going to make the crucial move right here. Let's ride along. Forces the issue to the inside. There you can see a little bit of commotion behind them. I think if it's not for that commotion there, Luis doesn't have quite an easy path, and the 48 of Corey Blevins trying to hold off the rest of the competition behind him really just made it easy for the 2-3 of Ruiz to break away. If it was a bit more organized, it wouldn't have been such an easy route to the finish, but Jose Ruiz led nothing more than a couple of laps before this last one, but that's all that matters. The 2-3 car in first, Corey Blevins in second. Nate Lehman finishes in third, and with that, he does officially clinch that points championship. Fans at home, don't go anywhere. Jose Ruiz, your race winner. Corey Blevins, your runner-up. And Nate Lehman, our bronze medalist, will be in the booth for podium interviews. We'll be back in just a moment with our top 3. On the podium now with our top two finishers, the number 1-4 of Nate Lehman coming home with the bronze medal tonight. Nate, great run so far. This entire season, that fifth win, just shy of getting that. But you're going to go into the final round with a 64-point advantage on Chris Murphy. That's enough to clinch the title. Do you have a chance at a fifth win next season at Charlotte?
Yeah, I sure hope so. It depends if I can make the race. I know there were some things that were coming up on my schedule that could potentially hinder that, but it's good to know that we've got that locked down in case I do miss that. But man, wild into that race. Congrats to Jose. I feel terrible for Corey. That's a tough one to swallow.
Tough one indeed. But you know, the competitors do fight on, and it's been an incredible season. Speaking of fighting on from yourself, with that third place finish, you have an average finish of fifth, an average start of fifth with 4 wins this season. So third place, certainly something to be proud of, and hopefully we see you in a week's time for the championship final from Charlotte. Congratulations on that bronze medal, Nate.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate it.
Our race-winning interview brought to you by the good folks over at di9 Designs, the custom graphic design page on Facebook, Twitter, and IG at di9 Designs. They post graphics on all platforms multiple times a week and take requests on logos, wallpapers, iRacing, schemes, and more. Follow and DM them for more details. They are not affiliated with Hendrick Motorsports or Chase Elliott. And be sure to use their code di9 Designs for free shipping on your diecast and merch orders over $20 on CircleBDiecast.com. And now the winner. Driver of the number 23 Dr. Pepper Toyota Supra, after 15 tries, finally grabs the top step of the podium. Jose Ruiz, using the green-white checker to your advantage. You got the win, and you're finally on that top spot.
Yeah, man, finally. It's been, I don't think I've won in this league yet, but it was a very eventful race. Freaking, before we even started, I got hit in the back. And then when we got everything situated, I got hit in the back again on the start. So it looks like I had a little bit of damage. So I thought the car was hurt after that. But I mean, I was perfectly fine running third. I had nothing for Corey or Nate there. But I mean, it sucks. I didn't want to win it like that. But I don't know. We definitely deserved third, but I'll take the win. It was one of those things where I got lucky there at the end with the caution. But luckily, got the win there on the green white checker. Usually I get involved in wrecks there at the end. Luckily, that wasn't the case that time. So, but got our win finally.
With that win, that ties you for third place in the points. You and Cole Snyder are deadlocked at 482 points headed into the final round, and you find yourself only 27 markers behind Chris Murphy in second place. What can we expect next week for the championship final? How much does finishing third in the standings mean to you? What will it take to break the deadlock with Cole Snyder?
Just do what I did, I think, last season in Charlotte. Feel like I'm pretty good there at the track, but I don't get wrecked. But hopefully I can beat out Cole there and beat my what I got last year in standing. I think I got like 9th or 10th or something in the season standing. So anything better than that will be a win.
11th in season 1, 6th in season 2, Jose, and now you're fighting for third at the end of season 3. Congratulations again on the win.
Hey man, thanks bud.
Fans at home, the semifinal is in the books, and that leaves one more race. The traditional season finale at the Charlotte Motor Speedway next Tuesday night, right here on Rick James TV, 9:30 Eastern, a 111-lap shootout to celebrate the third season and put a close to this marvelous chapter of racing. Until that next week and that final race, everybody, please stay safe. Do take care of each